All right, so I'm going to walk you through some grading basics in the classroom. And once you get the hang of it, it's not too terrible. It's actually pretty awesome. So I had to pop over into a class where I actually have students turning in work. And the best way, at least for me to do this, is if you go up here, you have a to-do list. And you can sort this by all of your classes, or you can just pick individual classes. So I'm going to go to my English 9 class, and this is going to show me how many assignments are not done, how many are done, what I've returned. So my earlier assignments, all of my students have done them, and it kind of just gives you some good stats there. So the way that I do this is that I just click on assignments that say done. That means I need to grade them, because if it's returned, that means I've graded it and I've given it back to the kid. So I just click here, and then this happens to be a discussion question. And so my student has given an answer, and I can reply to him if I want to, or I don't have to reply to him. I can give him his points. So you see up here that I said this was worth 5 points. And once I've given him his points, I can return this to him. I can leave him a private comment if I want. So I can say, those are some important ideas. And maybe spell that word right. Okay. And then I return it. And what happens when I return an assignment to a student is that they get an email. In their whatever email they use to create this account, so most of them it's their school email if they've done it properly, but they'll get an email, and in that email it shows them their score. And so I tell my students, if you got 100%, awesome. You should probably go look at it anyway, because I probably left you some comments. But if they lost points, I always leave feedback. So they, from the student side of it, we'll walk you through that later, what that kind of looks like, how to check your scores and things like that. But as a teacher, that's how you submit grades. If you click this back arrow, it's going to take you back into your stream. It doesn't just take you back one page. So I just always try to remember to navigate using this guy. So I'm going to, again, because this is showing all my classes, so I'm going to narrow this down to the class that I want to focus on grading right now. And I know that this one is a document assignment. So if it's a document, and these are documents that I have had my students create on their own. This isn't a worksheet one. And so you can click, so it shows you the kids who are done here. It's at the top. And you click on their assignment. And then I can go through and grade. I can leave comments for them if I want, anything like that. I don't have to share this back with them because we're in a classroom together. We don't have to share back and forth. It's all automatically shared from student to teacher, and all my comments are just saved into their document. You will have to close out of this because it opens up a new tab. My screen right now is not showing you that, but this just opens in a new tab. So I close the tab, it takes me back to the classroom. I give her her points, okay? Let's say that this student got 0 points. Let's award her a 0, and then when we say return, I can just return it to her. But if you grade a whole bunch of kids' work at the same time, okay, it's going to return it to all of them. So this private comment is private to who's checked. So it's showing you whatever comment you put here, it's going to go back to both kids. So sometimes I'll have a couple of kids who've messed up on the same thing. So then I go in and I return all their work together. So I can just send them one comment that says, hey. And it does look like it goes to them just on their own, but I've actually been able to provide feedback in mass to a whole bunch of students, which is actually quite convenient. So let's say I'm done grading this. I'm going to hit the back arrow, and it takes me back to my to-do list. This, let's see here. Is this it? Okay, so this is an assignment that I created a worksheet for. And so you'll see, because the student got his own copy, it has the name there first, and then they've completed their worksheet. I can see new changes, which is kind of cool. So see changes since you've last viewed this document. So I left a whole bunch of feedback for this guy, and he deleted out the comments and he made changes. which is cool that I can then just see the new changes. So if you, let's say, are editing a paper with a student, you're like, I can't exactly remember what I told them to improve, but I know that I gave them some feedback. You click this, and then it highlights what they added, it crosses out what they deleted, and it just kind of gives you a better picture. So that's pretty helpful, right? And that's just one little thing for grading again. I'm just going to close out of that. And then if I wanted to return these assignments to some of the kids and not all of them, you just check who you want it to go through for your private comment. You'll also see in here, so here's the kids who aren't done. I can also check all of them and I can email them and say, hey, make sure you're getting this done, whether or not they're actually checking their school email, but it will send them all an email as a friendly reminder. And so like this guy here, he submitted it twice, which is not a big deal, but then he left me a private comment. So when he went to turn in his assignment, he added a comment to it, and then I was able to respond to his comment, and they usually get an email. If you respond to a comment, they get an email about it. So we can have a side conversation outside of their assignment about, I've had kids who are like, I really am struggling with this, and of course they can email you, but sometimes when they're in the assignment and they're working on it, this is just another form of communication so that you and your students can interact together. And then when you are, let's say that you have a parent who's like, Jessica told me that she turned in 3.03 through 3.07, but she doesn't have a grade in Connexus. And you know what? This happens to me a lot because I grade a lot of stuff in here and I give them all their scores in Google, and I do keep another window open with Connexus and I add their scores, or I try to, as I'm going through and scoring in Google. But sometimes I miss something. So you can go to your students, you can pick an individual student, and then here it shows you what the assignment is, when it was due, and it's been assigned, okay? And so then it shows you their scores. It shows you if you've left comments for them. It shows if they've left attachments. And like, so here, she's turned this in. I haven't graded it yet. So sometimes it's a, hey, I just still need to grade it. Give me a little bit of time. Or it's, oh yeah, I forgot to transfer that grade over. I'll do it now. It should be fixed. But this is just a good little individualized way to look at a student. So I'll click on this one. And so here, she left me a comment down here. I think this one ended up being a phone call, just beginning of the semester stuff. But that's kind of how you can get a good overall picture of your students and some info on them if you're wondering if you missed something or you messed something up. Of course, you can click into any assignment. Let's go to one that's like this one here. Okay, so if I click the not done, it's going to show me who's not done. It shows me who's done, so this means I need to do some grading here. Okay, and then it also shows me everybody who's done. And anytime there's comments down here, that's me leaving them or them replying to me. So Kara said, you had some great ideas. Can't wait to see what you come up with. She just said, thanks. So this has actually helped me to feel a little bit more connected to my students. I think that the Google Classroom has opened up new channels of communication, and I do feel like I have gotten to know my students a little bit better. I don't know if it's the assignments or if it's just the flexibility of the classroom. I think it might be a little bit of both. And so here's something that's been pretty fun. Oh, that's not the one. Our students, some of you know this, are creating mobile businesses. And they are making businesses based on something they're interested in that they wish that we had in Wichita. So this has been fun. One discussion post is that they have to share what kind of a business they would want to start. And so I try to give the kids positive feedback on all of their posts, because for them to see that, okay, we can reply and we can talk back and forth. This guy just was editing his post this way. But so here, Lucas, he's got 2 replies. So I said, wow, but then another student, because they were in there posting and looking, also commented back to me and said, wow, it's a cool idea. So, well, he's saying for free outside, maybe not super awesome, but you know what? He's giving him something to think about. So, um, lots of things going on here. This kid, like this girl, she's doing mobile DJing, and this kid is doing a mobile music shop. So she's like, hey, I'd buy stuff from you, and you could giving him an idea of where he could sell stuff, but then also they started talking about, well, we could do a mobile event together. So it's pretty cool. All these kids are, I didn't tell them they had to respond to each other. They've just started doing it. I've never had a discussion board where kids chose to respond to each other. So that's been pretty cool. It's been fun to watch them discuss with each other and then to be able to get in it there and give them positive feedback. I did have one student message me and say, can our classmates see everything that you post to us? And she was worried because when I send back an assignment with a grade and then I leave those private comments, she thought that those were showing up because she had just been doing this post. And I told her that, if it's some improvement, an area of improvement, or something that they need to do better, that's never going to show up publicly to a student. That is just between me and them. But if it's a post to the class and I'm commenting on it, it's always going to be something positive. It's always going to be uplifting. So just kind of alleviating her fears, and she's gotten back on the discussion board and she's fine with it. But it's just kind of been a fun little experience for me. So maybe something to think about. I'm not saying you have to do it. But if you have questions about anything in this video, or this grading stuff spurred another question, just let us know.